Get it out now.
Okay, let everyone in. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining. Great to see some faces, some familiar ones. Hello. Hi, Jen. Thank you for joining. Hello, Monique, Jessica. Great to see your faces. Guys, if you do want to put your cameras on, it'd be lovely to see your faces. Oh, we've got a couple more people in the waiting room here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. As you can see from the screen, we are going to be using something called Mentimeter today. So if you do want to take this time while people are joining to get that set up, you can go onto your phone and go on menti.com and just type in the code that's at the top of the screen now. We've got a little bit of interactivity in the webinar today. So yeah, just grab your phone, go to menti.com and use the code 41623511. There will be a QR code on the next screen as well if you want to use that. So I'll just let everyone join. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. So I will bring it onto this screen so that you can use the QR code if you need to. But welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar on progressing your career as a purser. My name's Maya. I'm the head of marketing. Oh, sorry, hello. That brings me to my next point of housekeeping. If you would like to keep your cameras on, that would be great. But please do keep microphones off just so that we can hear the speakers when they get started. Do feel free to put any questions into the chat as we go along, but we will have a dedicated time for Q&A as we're going along. I've mentioned it already, but for those of you who just joined, we are using Menti today, so please do use your phone, head to menti.com and type in that code or use the QR code here. Has everyone had a chance to do that? Do you want to give me a little thumbs up if you're all set up? I can't see any thumbs, but I'm assuming silence is okay, perfect. Here we go. So just a little agenda for the day. Thank you, Andrew. So obviously, welcome to the session. We'll introduce our speakers that we have today. We'll talk about the role of a purser and how that is evolving in the industry at the moment. We'll look at how you can become a purser if you aren't already in the role, the different career pathways to get there, skills and experience needed, and the qualifications as well. We'll also look at the COC route, the Certificate of Competency, and why accreditation is really important, especially at the moment. We'll talk about the Crew Academy programme, which is the industry's leading and first purser programme, what you can expect from that and different ways to study. And as we said, we'll have a little wrap up and Q&A as well from that. So moving on, we'd love to know where in the world, sorry, not where in the world, what your current position is on board. So if you hold a couple of different positions or you're currently aspiring to a certain position, let us know what your position is. Second stewardess, great.
Yes,
We've got an accountant, brilliant, very relevant for a purser. Stew admin, also relevant. Chief stewardess, admin and bookkeeper, great. Any more for any more? CS, chief stewardess, brilliant. What was the new one there? Chief stew as well, brilliant. Another stewardess, great. So, apologies. Mostly interior, but a bit of admin today, so that's great. Thank you, everyone. Someone's commented, coming from corporate, but run a yacht charter. Great. Lovely. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and we have a captain on with us today as well. Welcome. Thank you. Perfect. So we'd love to know as well where in the world you are located. So we know that we have crew from all over the world. So you should be able to drag on your map whereabouts you are and put a little pin on there so we can see where you are. Okay, so we've got UK. And is that New Zealand down there? South Africa, brilliant. Where else have we got? That looks like the south of England or northern France to me. 2 in South Africa, great. I think that's Palmer. Brilliant. Oh, someone's drawn an arrow. That's great. Lovely. So yeah, people from all over. I'm guessing there's a few more coming as well. India. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for joining from different areas and time zones as well. It's great to have so many of you on with us. Great. Okay. So just to get an idea of what everyone's knowledge of the role is so far, what tasks does a purser manage? So you should be able to submit multiple responses to this. What do you know about what a purser manages? Accounting, big one, yes. Crew contracts, crew flights, crew movements, visa. Not sure how to get these scribbles off here. Port clearance, HR, provisioning, itineraries, yeah, loads of different things, immigration, customs, port clearance again. Brilliant, lots of good knowledge here. It's very varied role, and Julia will be going into more detail on everything that's involved in the role of a purser. Insurance, accounts has come up again, concierge. Great, thank you everyone. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Julia, who is our head of training here at the Crew Academy and also our purser trainer. She's a former purser with 12 years yachting experience, and she has taught the purser program for 4 years. She is an absolute fountain of knowledge about all things purser. All of our students at the Crew Academy are always raving about, her absolutely clinical detail that she can go into some of these areas. So it's we're so happy to have her on today talking through the role and how you can progress your career. So without further ado, Julia, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Maya's given a lovely intro. Thank you. As noted, I'm Julia, and I'm going to be talking you through a few purser talking points today, and then we'll follow that with an opportunity for some Q&A. I expect there's going to be a few questions. So we're going to start off with what is a purser, an introduction to that purser's role. Pursers are typically required on larger vessels. They might be as small as 65 meters, but it'll go upwards from there. Within the onboard hierarchy, the purser is a senior level position. You might find that they sit between the captain and the heads of departments. You might find that they're sitting just below the captain in line with the other departments, but you are an HOD and it is a very senior position. To take on this role, a person should have extensive maritime experience, and that might either be gained through onboard positions. It could also be gained through shore-based positions supporting the yachts. The roles and responsibilities are going to vary, sometimes significantly, from one vessel to the next. But I can generalize a little bit here to say that the role will require organization, very likely management of the accounts, and dealing with the logistical operations of the yacht. So I think talking point number 2 there is what tasks are managed by the purser. I did mention that it could be quite varied, but some of the tasks we tend to see might deal with financial management, so managing the accounts and the budgeting on board, tracking expenses, reconciling accounts, managing the subscriptions, there are many, and very importantly, crew payroll. Management of the crew is very important. I think that came up in one of the points on Mentimeter. Here, the purser might be in charge of the onboard recruitment. They might be ensuring that crew are properly trained for the positions that they're filling. They might be looking after schedules. If they're heading the interior department, they might be managing the crew files and those rotations, time off, travel. On guest services, you might find that there's a concierge aspect. The purser is in charge of organizing transport, activities, shore-based excursions, fulfilling those special requests. You might even become event planner and hosting those very large events that we have on board. Then you get the logistical and administration sides, managing all of the yacht's documentation, the certificates, the manuals and standard operating procedures, organizing port clearances and dockage, coordinating the deliveries and provisions, the supplies, the fuel. So it can be quite extensive, but on a positive note, it's very unlikely you'd be asked to do all of those things all of the time. And this is where job descriptions are really important. The third point here is, how is the role evolving? The role is ever evolving. This comes down to the increasing size of our yachts, the wider range of destinations that we visit, the ongoing, sometimes annual changes to the industry rules and regulations, and to the type of very high-profile guests that we might encounter. As yachts get larger and larger, we need more crew, we need higher budgets, and this becomes complex to manage. So that you might find that there's very specific purser duties becoming necessary. For example, those pursers that are hired solely devoted to managing the accounts, or solely devoted to looking after the crew. I mention this frequently in my course, but the industry as a whole is rather reactive as opposed to being proactive. And with that in mind, through social media and the advanced technology that we have available today, we are more aware than ever of the catastrophes that happen in the industry, the dangers, and as such, rules and regulations are continuing to...
That a yogurt sab yaar.
Sorry?
Can we ask the young gentleman to mute his phone, please?
Just done that for you.
Sorry, I thought that was a question. Where did I leave off? I think I was talking about the industry being reactive as opposed to proactive. And with today's technology and the fact that we're constantly sharing things, and you can see videos of what's happening when there's an accident or an incident in the industry, things change quite frequently, and it's a lot to stay up to date with. And so we might bring the purser on to manage compliance to national laws of the country that we're registered to, as well as those international laws that continue to adapt and change. I'll also touch on travel. More and more vessels are cruising worldwide. We're going off the beaten track, so to speak. We're moving away from those typical destinations like St. Bart's for New Year's, or St. Tropez in the summer. We're visiting remote locations, and this requires in-depth research, planning, risk assessments, and lots of logistics in terms of travel, arriving, visas, provisions. And so we might rely on a purser to look after this for us. So you're starting to see more very specialized or specific requirements for the purser's role. We're also starting to see increased numbers of purser assistants or hybrid roles becoming available. Some are offered as dual or overlapping roles, and I think on Mentimeter I saw a few of those. Admin stew, for example, or second stew / administrator. You also get positions with these new names like yacht administrator or interior manager. There's been more and more land-based roles that have been coming up, and these might be, again, very specific, those new build pursers or pursers hired for refit projects. And you're also starting to see shore-based pursers hired for the smaller vessels, those that are under 60, 65 meters that might need assistance, but don't necessarily have the space on board to accommodate the full-time position. And those pursers might help as and when, and would very likely be assisting more than one vessel at a time. So those are a few of the different ways that the role is evolving. Skills needed as a purser. So there's a bulleted list on the screen there. We'll start off with accounting. Here you'd be managing the vessel's budget, management and reconciliation of the accounts, payroll, very importantly for your crew. Administration, this would be management of the yacht and crew files and documentation, logistical coordination, also proficiency with the advanced software programs that we have available to us today. That might include things like Volley to help manage the payroll and accounting, Pinpoint Works for maintenance and shipyards, Idea, Deep Blue, Total Super Yacht for vessel management, just to name a few. Communication and interpersonal skills, interactions with crew, management, ship owners, high-profile guests, shore-based contacts such as your port agents, your suppliers, your designated person ashore, company security officer, your flag reps. We've got to be able to communicate very, very clearly and efficiently with these various sources, and the purser is very much in the know and able to handle that, or should be able to handle that. Multitasking and problem solving, quick thinking and adaptability are key requirements for this role. There's always unexpected little challenges that come up, sort of like medical triage. You have to be able to prioritize in the moment, and so that's where your industry experience is very important. Leadership and teamwork. Here you might be looking after the well-being of your crew, acting as a support function to them, safeguards as and when needed. Sometimes your crew will look to you as the purser because you are somewhat disconnected from them in the day-to-day. You have your own office, a closed door, that private space, and so they might be looking to you for advice or guidance or just to vent to. And this is where I just want to mention that when we have students sign up to our courses, especially the purser course, our little gift to you is a course in mental health training, so that you've got a few little tools available to you to assist your crew. I've lost my track on our list here. Discretion, confidentiality, and data security. Pursers handle very sensitive information for both your crew and your guests. We have access to the inner workings of the vessel and the company's finances. We hold personal information on the crew and guests, passports, driver's license, bank details, home addresses, next of kin. We have a duty of care to protect this sensitive information. And we should also be up to date with the laws surrounding collection of personal data and how it's used. Just as an example, your GDPR rules. Guest services. We are in yachting, so we of course want to deliver that premium experience, and that should go to anyone who steps on board. So having a background or an understanding of that luxury service and concierge aspect is very important. Your crew might be looking for your guidance in this way. Next up, purser COC. So we'll start off with what is a COC if you're not familiar. A COC, or a Certificate of Competency, is a formal qualification, and it's issued to individuals who have successfully completed specific training and assessments, have accumulated a certain amount of sea time. For your officers, your captains, your engineers, the COC is governed through STCW. I teach this in the course, but that is your standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping convention. The COC is distinguished. It's prestigious qualification. It's the gold standard. For the purser, the COC is governed through GUEST, and it's accredited by IME. And the Yacht Purser COC ensures that the purser has all the necessary skills and knowledge to handle the complexities of the yacht operations, the administration, the finance. It is becoming increasingly recognized throughout the large yacht industry as the staple and standards, ultimately a requirement to be eligible for the role, but it's also recognition of your hard work and your commitment. The Career Academy is recognized as one of the providers for the courses needed to obtain the COC. The first qualification would be your purser certificate, and that would be guest units 18 through 21. In addition to that, an advanced leadership qualification is required, which would be guest unit 22. And our little gift to students who study with us is mental health training as well. prepares you for that situation where your crew come to you and use you as their person to speak to or unload and vent to. In order to obtain the COC, the training has to be completed, certificates in hand. There's also a certain amount of sea time that has to be accumulated and proven. The requirement is 12 months at sea and at least 60 days with guests on board in that head of department role, or at least a very senior role on board. The next little slide is about the Career Academy's Purser program. So this is the course that I teach. The Career Academy's Purser course is Guest on IAME accredited. We are the top training school and the first to implement the Purser course. All forms of study through us are taught on our state-of-the-art learning platform. And each of our options has students study live with me. And that's either in a classroom on one of our residential offerings where you'll live in house with us for 2 weeks, or online. And there's various versions online, but this would be done via Zoom. And we offer students an option to study with us over a 2-week period where they are dropped into the course, and it's a very, very intensive couple of weeks, but we work through the course. Or we also offer a flexible learning option where students are given 12 months to spread out their studies and their lessons with me. But the course is made up of 8 different modules, and each is designed to cover a different topic. We go in depth. Some of the topics are role of the purser or port clearances, muster duties, yacht-specific operations, destination management, planning for those off the beaten track sort of itineraries, as well as the itineraries that the guests love and go back to over and over again. We cover charter and VAT, focusing on VAT rules in the European Union. We learn about accounting and budgeting. And I take you through the legal framework for the industry, take you through the big conventions and codes, the maritime laws. Through the platform, students have access to all of the reading material, lots and lots and lots of resources. I'm constantly updating it, so it's something that they can use as an up-to-date library and refer to at any point before, during, or after their course. There's a class forum so that students can reach out to each other and share information. Sometimes they're looking for additional standard operating procedures or checklists or templates, and they can share that there. Every so often, information comes up that's not covered in the course, but I'll do a little bit of research and post that supplementary information in the forum for those that are interested. Students always have direct access to me through the platform as well as their course calendar to join those live lessons. We structure our course in a way that you have the reading material to work through at your own pace. You have live lessons where I take you through lectures, and we also have revisions where we all get to share. And then you are assessed through practical components where you're able to create your own checklists and templates to build out the purser file. There's various activities to ensure that you're familiar with the formatting requirements using the MS Office programs, that you are able to create the functional checklists and templates and put them into use. And we also have exams just to ensure that everything has been drilled in and you're absorbing that information. Core modules, you've got a list there on the platform of the platform. I'm so used to saying that on the screen of the key topics that we take you through. So the 8 modules have all been listed there. The different ways to study, we've got 4 options. Residential will have you live in-house in our beautiful training facility in Sussex, Hilton House. Sorry, I'm going to mute you. Thank you. So for 2 weeks, students live in-house with me, and I take you through the course. Online is a similar setup. It's still 2 weeks, it's very intensive, but rather than meeting face to face at Tilton House, we'll meet online via Zoom. The flexible study still requires the Zoom meetings, but students have 12 months in order to attend their lessons. And in that way, they're able to select a full 2-week course if it works for them, or to do week 1 of the course on one intake and do week 2 2 months from now, if that works. Or they could even split it up to do a day here and there. So it offers a lot more flexibility. And then as our fourth option, we do private one-to-one tuition. And in that case, we schedule around the student individually and ensure that we're able to deliver the course in a way that works for their schedule, their time zone. So a few different options. Alumni benefits. So those that do study with us and become our graduates, they have forever access to the platform. And as I said, I'm constantly updating the information there. So it's an up-to-date library that you can refer back to at any time. You have the recruitment support through our sister company, the Crew Hunter. And Max is affiliated through the Crew Hunter. You've got an alumni network with WhatsApp and Facebook groups. We have hundreds of pursers on this group, so you've got a great network there. I'm on it as well for students or graduates that have questions. Occasionally I'll get a message, sometimes months after they finish the course, when perhaps they've had the time to digest the information and questions pop up, or it'll be something that links to their current position on the vessel and they just need a little extra guidance. So you have that continued support. And there's always lots of discounts or little freebie courses that come up here and there, and we make sure that you're in the know about those when they're offered and what's available. And you've got a little list there of the upcoming dates. I offer courses on a regular basis. They're running at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. So all the dates for 2025 have been published on our website. But you've got a list here on the I keep saying platform on the screen of the dates between now and end of May, I suppose. And you've got the website at the bottom there for the full dates for 2025.
Great. Thank you, Julia. And thank you, everyone. So we do have a few questions. The first one I will bring up has just been asked about the topics covered. So I'm just going to bring them up and leave them on the screen again, so you've just got a little bit more time to have a look at those. So yeah, we have had a few other questions that have been sent in advance. As Julia mentioned, we do also have Max Lee, who is our head of talent management at the Crew Hunter, which is our sister company, sister recruitment agency. So yeah, work really closely on managing talent that comes through our academy, and then helping to place in jobs as well. So yeah, so we'll go through a few of the questions, and yeah, the team will look to help answer those for you. If you've got any others, please feel free to raise a hand and chime in as we go along. So the first question is, what would benefit you starting out as a purser to get your foot in the door? So basically, you know, helping to get that first role, what kind of experience or courses? I think we've been through the courses a little bit, but yeah, what kind of experience or any tips for landing the first role on board?
I'd recommend reaching out to the captain, and perhaps, you know, you don't need to be in the purser's role to start taking on purser responsibilities. You could be in any position and look to assist the captain as and where needed. And in that way, you're able to learn about some of the things that the purser is going to do, but alleviate some of the pressure on the captain. You're able to take on a little bit more responsibility and get that guidance. And that might be helping to prepare with port clearances or the port bookings, or maybe you take on and manage the crew files. But there are ways that you can start taking on those duties slowly and start learning them before you step into the role.
Thank you. And historically, how hard or easy has it been for aspiring pursers to get their first or second roles on board? I guess we can talk about our experience with our students.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time. There's only so many purser positions, and we're having more and more vessels launched, and they keep getting bigger, which means they need more pursers. But it does take a little bit of perseverance. It's trying to gain as much experience as you can outside of the role, which is where you can start taking on responsibilities from the captain or heads of departments. There's no right way to come into the role. It's a little bit of networking. It's a little bit of experience. It's sometimes being in the right place at the right time. But I would recommend to regularly check in with your recruiters to let them know that you are looking to step into that role. Maybe you're looking for an assistant purser role or a hybrid role. But stay on their radar and persevere, stick with it.
Yeah, brilliant. One interesting question: has AI had much of an impact on the role? Oh, Andrew, did you want to
Andrew's got
chime
a
in before
comment
that?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Andrew, I'm the founder of the school. So in terms of roles, it always comes down to you as a person. What are you like? Are you employable? Are you kind? Are you generous? Are you people-centric? What are you as a type? How well are you prepared for your interview? How do you present yourself during your interviews? What's your personal network like? What's your recruitment or talent manager like? Do they care about you and your career? So if you've aligned all of these things, then you will obviously find it a lot easier to get your first role. A lot of pursers evolve into the role of a purser through growth on board a vessel, or the owner's buying a new boat. They've shined and thrived on board a vessel over a period of time. But getting your first role from scratch is always tough, because what you get from recruiters is purser 2 years on board experience. So how are you ever going to get a role if that's what your recruitment partners are looking at? Max heads up our talent management team. We look at you as an individual, not as a certificate or as a career or what's your last boat. We want to know, what do you want to do? Where you want to go? What are your aspirations? What are your dreams? And if you are the type who will thrive in the role of a purser, then obviously we take you on from school, we nurture you. Sometimes it can take a week, sometimes it can take 2 years. We have dozens and dozens of examples every year of students of ours going into their first role. A lot of our students are already in their roles or being promoted into the role. A number of students don't want to be a purser. They want to be an interior manager or a chief stew on a much bigger boat. Quite a few of our students are female bosuns or male chief officers who want to transition. So we get a lovely broad stroke range of people coming through school. We're definitely not vanilla. We're definitely Baskin Robbins, 33 flavors. And we love that because you're all pretty unique. And the fact that you're spending a bit of time with us today shows that you care and you've got time to look at your career and how to progress. So it comes down to the person, the type, how well you're prepared, how big your network is, and really if the role is suited for you. A lot of people also come to school to figure out they don't want to be a purser. So they do all of their work, they graduate, and they realize, actually, I want to go land-based. And we've seen a lot of our alumni now transition through our land-based recruitment company, Exclusive Household Cavalry, into senior roles, land-based. And let's be clear, land-based salaries are phenomenal at the moment. Quality of life on land is phenomenal for senior female crew who are transiting. So it's a lovely sort of career, junction. Do you want to head up to a different role? Do you want to progress into purser? Do you want to go land-based? Or do you want to revisit your career completely? Quite a few of last week's Resi pursers were female deck, who want to move back into the interior, having had Jess had 12 years on deck. She had an injury and she's transiting to interior and wants to be a purser. So many variables on it. Just don't assume if you come to school with us that you're all going to be the same person, all in the same role, or fighting for one job. That is absolutely not the case. Thanks, Maya and Julia.
I'd say too, I'm going to make one other point here, is to set yourself up for those opportunities. You know, there's lots of big fleets out there, and if you're within a fleet, when promotions come up, quite often they hire from within. So it's also placing yourself in a position where you might not get the role right now, but you might be setting yourself up for the opportunity when it arises. So there's that aspect to consider as well.
Thank you. Max, is there anything you want to offer in terms of like general tips for recruitment, moving into those new roles, stepping up?
Yeah, I think, yeah, hi everyone. So Max here. I head up the talent management and recruitment at the company for the Crew Hunter. Yeah, I think it's just building on Andrew's advice. It's not just a case of you go to the Purser training, you get qualification, and you just magically jump into a role. You've got to be honest with the recruiter, whoever is helping you get these jobs. You've got to speak to them regularly, tell them exactly what you're looking for. And then we do our best to obviously match up your skill set and the type of person you are to the job out there. So as Andrew said, not everyone's suited to every role out there. So it's all about kind of being honest from your end, figuring out what you want in life and want from the qualification itself. And then, yeah, as Julia said as well, being persistent. You know, it's certainly not a straightforward role to go straight into. It does take time, but the rewards, once you're patient and it pays off, are fantastic. And pursers don't tend to jump around. Once you become a purser on a great yacht, you'll stay there for a long time, unless the owner upgrades, and then you tend to go with them, kind of thing. So I think that's what I give from a recruitment perspective, to be honest.
Great. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, so we'll jump back to the question that we had on AI and whether that's had much of an impact on the role yet, or whether perhaps that hasn't caught up with the industry just yet. Julia, do you?
I think Andrew's ready to jump in there.
Oh, we love AI. We are fully AI integrated into school, into the businesses. We lean into it every day for work, prepping letters, doing contracts, creating new interactive content. It's the most incredible tool, but you've got to be able to use AI ethically, but also productively, so it saves you time. Has it impacted on the role of a purser? Absolutely. Type into AI, build me a 10-day guest trip for a 400,000 budget. I want to do 16 restaurants, all Michelin star. Boom, there's your charter itinerary. You can get AI to draft your contracts, to help you with disciplinaries, with reviews, with HR. It can help you with your recruitment cycle. It's a massive tool. It's wonderful. And we are considering, well, we're launching a new platform in April or May with 1,200 courses on it. And on that, a lot of courses based around AI for interior administrators, how to use AI in your daily work so that it helps save time. So absolutely, AI will definitely change the way pursers work. And I think it will all be for the best. But again, you've got to use AI. You've got to be trained to use AI properly. Otherwise, you end up just redoing your work. I'm currently on it at the moment, drafting a big 20-page proposal to an owner. And it's wonderful. Can't shout any louder about it.
Yeah, we did also have some discussion in our Purser WhatsApp group a few weeks ago, which was around, I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was talking about drafting a affidavit, I think, and they were saying that they use ChatGPT to sort of get that first draft that helps you get everything together. But then obviously it needs the purser, someone who's knowledgeable about everything, to sense check it afterwards and just make sure that everything's correct. So I think, yeah, with as Andrew said, as long as you know how to use it, it's an incredibly important tool that's starting to be incorporated into that role.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Unless anyone has anything to add on that. So someone has asked, my goal is to become a purser, searching for a first job. If you're not yet qualified to do the purser course, would there be any recommendations for other courses to do? So I guess maybe we can go into what the entry requirements are for the purser role, or like level of experience expected, and would, for example, the advanced interior administration course be a good stepping stone for that?
Absolutely. Yeah. the purser's course is the purser's position it's a very senior role. We need somebody who has maritime experience and is familiar with the other departments on board and their needs. So if you're not ready for a purser course just yet, then yes, there's so many courses to look at. The administration courses are brilliant. There's a Chief Stew course and COC that's available as a step before moving on to purser as well.
Brilliant. Have we got any further questions in the chat? Yes. What are the benefits of your purser course compared to other course providers?
Me, of course.
I'll come in on that. The three big accredited schools are Sandra, Angie and us. We know them. We all sit on the same guest IAMI board. Angie and I message every day. Sandra, Angie and I meet every month or every 2 months for our board meetings. We manage content. The one thing that's different is we teach differently. We have different methodologies and methods. We do have some different content, and we never really argue or fight over students. They have a very specific demographic, each one of them, and we are all different. So what tends to happen is you'll chat to all three of us, and you'll make a decision. We are the biggest, but that's solely not down to the trainer, the content, or the training. I can't compliment Angie and Sandra enough. They're wonderful people. And Angie used to be our head trainer a decade ago. So she's wonderful. And Sandra's amazing, incredibly detailed. And I'd say her course is a lot more complicated than ours, and I think she's going to simplify it this year a bit. But it comes down to you as a person. How do you want to learn? What do you want from your teacher? Because your teacher is your central focal point. So yeah, we're all accredited. There are a few others out there, they're not accredited and they're shocks. That's all I'm going to say. We've spent 16 years doing this. I founded the Purser program when I had my provisioning company. I hired 3 pursers from Octopus, Mariah, and Indian Empress, Teresa, Katrine, and Angela. We spent a year building the first program in 2007. We gave it away for free for 2 years. We then created the academy. We got accredited by the PYA, and 6 years ago, IAMI, which I'm a board member of, acquired the PYA's guest program, and we accredited from then onwards under IAMI. Sandra and Angie set their schools up, and we became a trilogy of schools, and we all like each other. We all collaborate, we cooperate, and yeah, it's wonderful. And we only care about our students. That's what we do. We're so different, but we're definitely intertwined. Hope I haven't gone on too long.
No, I am going to add our platform though, is also
Oh yeah, well,
amazing.
we have an amazing tech platform that is, all your exams, assignments, assessments, fully automated. Your content's just overwhelmingly detailed. But at the end of the day, Julia trains 100 to 110 purser and chief stews every day through 14 programs. Your Resi programs are here with me, my wife, Julia, our 2 dogs. We live in a beautiful old house. You are a member of the family when you come with us for 2 weeks. You are watered, fed. We don't tuck you in at night, but you definitely get tucked into comfy bedrooms. And it's a family home, a big, big family home. And it's a lovely environment. And on Friday last week, we had lots of tears. When everyone was leaving, we had a lot of laughter, quite a lot of champagne was drunk by our graduates. And we love our programs. Our Resi program is my favorite because we get to eat brekkie, lunch and dinner with you and really get to know you. And then we get to place you because we know you better. We know the boat and the team that you will thrive on because we've lived with you. So yeah, it's very different.
Thank you, Andrew. Couple more questions that we'd like to try and get through in the next few minutes. So before we go, Could you skip the chief stew role and go straight from second stew to purser? Asks Dominique.
Absolutely. There is no one pathway. You don't have to work up to chief stew and then step into purser. I have officers that have come through the course. I've had deckhands come through the course. I've had people that have never worked on a boat before, but they've come from yacht management, shore-based, come onto the course. There's no one position you have to hit before you move into that purser's role. We're looking at your perhaps education, your experience. We're looking at your organizational skills, your management skills. There's so many variables involved, but you do not have to do chief stew first.
Brilliant, thank you. And feeding into that same kind of topic of, career paths, Eve says, I have a background in finance and a business degree. I've been in the industry for just over 2 years, currently working as an admin stew. Is it realistic for me to aim to become a purser in the next couple of years?
And again, your background's hugely important here. So yes, it would be. That is an option.
Absolutely. And head for a big boat, a big program, or maybe athlete. If you've got that corporate accounting legal background and you've got a good commercial head on your shoulders, but also ask yourself, do you like people? The purser role can be a lonely role. You could be in your own office, so your door needs to be open. You are seen as the Switzerland of the vessel, so you'll have to deal with all departments, all types, all situations and scenarios. So think about the working environment and the team you want to join. But definitely, if you've been in a corporate environment, you'll be used to, working in offices with hierarchical structures, with very clearly defined procedures, etc. And that's a really lovely thing to bring to a big fleet or a big vessel. So aim high, I would say.
Thank you. And final question, do you think age can affect finding a role as a purser?
No, I don't think it does. We've had really young students come through and land that purser's role quite quickly. I've had students well into their 50s during the course, and they've also worked into that purser's role. So no, I don't think age is a factor.
But let's be a bit realistic, Julia. Yachting is incredibly age, what's the word? Age averse. So you can be a 60-year-old captain and everyone loves you. But the moment you're a chief stewardess, a purser, or a head of department and you're 40, life becomes difficult. And we fight this daily in the recruitment team. It's unfair. Your experience as you go through your employment cycle just gets better and better and better. You learn to communicate better. You learn to lead better. You've learned from some of life lessons, but yachting is absolutely not fair. And as I said, it discriminates against elder females, and our recruitment teams are trained in not discriminating against anyone. We look at you as a person. That's what we do. And we definitely don't look at your photograph, your ethnicity, your nationality. We love your corporate background. We love your educational background. And we want to know, where have you come from? What village? What school? What were your friendship groups like? That helps us place you and nurture you. But always be aware there are nefarious factors in our industry who are not great people.
Yeah, I mean, I think though with the purser's role, sometimes they're happier to have an older individual in that position. Sometimes when you're the stew service in their face, they want very young and pretty, but I think there's a little bit more flexibility with the purser side.
Yeah, I remember when we took on our wonderful 23-year-old stewardess. She got sponsored to come to be a purser by a captain of a 150-meter boat. He had worked with her for 2 seasons. He said she is incredible. So we sponsored her. We paid part of her fees, and she jumped onto Nero as the purser after 1 year, and is now 4 or 5 years in. She was nominated for Purser of the Year award at Accreditation. And she's 26 now, 27, but she started at 23, and we got a lot of flack for that. But she came top in a class of 12, and everyone, all the other students, loved working with her. And in fact, she mentored quite a few of them through their exams at the age of 20, 22. So it's all down to the person, really.
We have two final questions and we're going to squeeze in. Let's do a line each. So after finishing the course, you guys help find a purser job. So yeah, that's what Max and his team are all about, supporting our students and talent to find a job. Not sure if there's any more to say on that, Max. But
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head there. Just to add to that, yeah, obviously you do the course for us, get in contact with myself. I'll be entirely realistic. You know, if you're applying for a job which I might not think you're suitable for, then we'll have a chat. I'm not just going to say, no, that's not for you. I'll tell you why it's not, and I'll tell you what kind of path to look down with your experience. And yeah, we just work together to find the right job. I mean, there's a boat out there for everyone. But by using, coming to the school here, we get to know you. I'll build a relationship with you, and over time, we'll find you that right role. We're not just going to throw your CV to boats out there and hope for the best. It's a very personalized approach, the recruitment cycle.
thank you. And final question, I will also pop an email into the chat for any follow-up questions because I can see we've got some more coming in. But final question from Chloe. Do you think a captain background would be an advantage or not to get a position as a purser?
Absolutely.
Every captain should do the purser course because they've never done accounts. Their maritime law training is limited just to get their tickets. 100%. Julia.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And I think having a captain's background, absolutely, it's going to be an advantage. The purser is most often brought on board to support the captain, or to look after potentially the shore-based aspects, but having that experience already is hugely beneficial. It would be whether or not you want to move from captain to a purser's position, but yes, it's an advantage.
And again, the management companies and recruitment companies will discriminate against you as a captain moving to purser. They will
question why.
Because you're an anomaly. No, that's not right. I can't say it, is it? Chloe's putting her head saying yes. If you're difficult to place, no one wants to place you. Yeah, it's get a job in, the simplest brief. The first person in gets the job, they get a bill. That's not how we run our recruitment teams, land-based or yacht-based. We're targeting on longevity. How long can we get someone on board a boat for? 2, 3, 4 years for us is a great success. And we like complex cases. Absolutely. The more complicated you are, the harder work we have to do. Chloe, I know you're a captain, Chloe.
Yeah, we had Oliver, didn't we, the chief officer, on a few months ago, who was saying
Oliver and Vika as well, but they're chief officers coming through, and some recruiters might question, why have you done your chief mate's ticket, spent all of that training, and now you're moving to purser? But they've moved to purser.
Vika went from interior to deck to bridge to chief officer. Amazing female British Russian. I've mentored her for 5 years. She transited to purser, having done our command leadership program, did a purser with Julia. And then it's taken 1 year. She got a temp role at Edmiston's for a couple of months, and she's just jumped onto Al Raya. She's just finished her second rotation. She is so happy. So they chose a deck purser to work with their interior person on rotation. So they're learning from each other. It's a lovely story, but it took her a year. But super happy, full rotation. Yeah, great.
Right, well, thank you everyone so much. Thank you for your time, your attention, and all the super interesting questions as well that we've had today. I will be sending an email out to everyone who's registered just with a little bit more information on the course, but I've also popped our general email into the chat if anyone does have any follow-up questions that they'd like to ask. I think there's maybe a couple of you that I don't have on the list, so please do feel free to drop that general email just so that we've got your contacts and we can send you all the info. But yeah, any questions you have going forward about the role and the course, just general career progression, please do feel free to drop us a line. And thanks once again, and have a lovely evening or morning for those of you in New Zealand.
And Maya, can we just say, if you want to get in touch with us, Max, myself, Julia, we're all contactable. We don't sit in glass towers. You can WhatsApp us and we'll have a call and chat. Absolutely. The more challenging you are as a person, the greater challenge we find. And we thrive on challenges. Absolutely. So Chloe, Dominic, Jean, Katie, any of you give us a call and we'd love to work with you. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, drop that info at yachtcrew.uk, a line, and then we'll put you in touch with the right person. And thanks again. Thanks to the team. And yeah, hopefully speak to you all soon.
Thanks, Maya. Thanks, Julia.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for turning up.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
There we go.